Update. Am I wrong for enforcing our surrogacy contract? Original post. Okay, so for context, my husband is James, 39, I'm female, 29, and my sister Tilly, 30. When my husband and I found out I wouldn't be able to carry a baby, my sister offered to be our surrogate so we could still have a biological child. She did this totally unprompted and on her own. She had divorced her husband over a year ago and was heading into single life. We offered to cover all medical expenses and expenses for anything that could improve her life/pregnancy quality, as it's not legal to pay for a surrogate in my country. She was more than happy to do that, but as time went on, she said she didn't like pregnancy. It freaked her out and she couldn't wait to just give the baby to us and go on holiday. So 3 days ago, she gave birth to our daughter. She's perfect and such a beautiful baby, and we were getting ready to take her home when Tilly denied it. She said I couldn't have my baby. I was really confused and asked what was wrong. What did she mean? She said she'd changed her mind and didn't want to give us our baby. I reminded her she wasn't biologically a parent to my daughter and reminded her that she hated pregnancy and wanted to go on holiday. She said no, wouldn't let me hold my baby, and made a nurse take me out. Since then, I've been crying and really upset. Our parents are trying to get her to see sense, and none of it made any sense to me. Until James sat me down and showed me texts he had been getting from her for the past few weeks. They started out innocent, but then she said how horny the pregnancy was making her. He sat back a laughing emoji, but she carried on and propositioned him, asking him if he was attracted to the woman carrying his baby, saying surely it made him feel some way. She even sent some risque photos of her in lingerie, and he told her to stop. That she wasn't his wife, and he wouldn't mention anything as none of us needed more stress, but this wasn't appropriate. Since then, I've been looking over the contract we had drawn up, and there is a clause that allows me to gain custody by showing Tilly's written agreement and understanding of our contract to a judge. I've texted Tilly telling her she has a date to give me my baby, or I will take her to court to enforce the contract and get custody of my child. But now our cousins have texted me saying I'm an a-hole for pressuring a woman to give her baby up. But it's my baby, not hers. Edit, if I'm honest, it feels like emotional manipulation. She's had no feelings or attachment to the baby literally the whole pregnancy. She said she only did it so she could get the private healthcare, and the holiday she's going on was paid by us. Anything she wanted during pregnancy, food, clothes, Dyson hairdryer, we got her. We sent her on wellness weekends. She admitted she wanted some pampering after the divorce, and knew we would give that to the woman housing our baby. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Yeah, no. You have no right to ask her to have empathy. If it was an adoptive situation or something, I totally would be more sympathetic. But she's got no maternal connection to my baby. Depending on the country, sister is actually the legal mother. Opie would have to adopt the baby, even though it's genetically hers, for her name to appear on the birth certificate and have parental rights. Sister has already signed her rights away. If she already signed her rights away, why don't you just take your baby? Are you and your husband on the birth certificate? If so, that's even more reason to just go get your baby. If all the documentation says it's yours, then let her be the one to try and fight you. So the rule for us anyway is that she still has to sign off on a form when they are both discharged. The contract clause is in case she goes back on her word like she has done to protect us. Really screwed up situation, but you aren't wrong for enforcing the contract. Your sister shouldn't be propositioning your husband, and that is probably the most wrong thing with this whole situation. Clearly, the sister was hoping to steal Opie's husband by trying to be more of a woman by asking him if he was attracted to the woman carrying his baby, saying surely it made him feel some way. Gross. Opie, you're not wrong. Clearly, your sister was trying to con you out, of not just her child, but your husband too. Clearly, there's some jealousy, envy, and whatever else that's sick. Go get your baby. This is one of those situations where I feel like you can't majorly hold it against the sister for now. Crazy hormone imbalances and things from pregnancy can cause some super weird behavior. If you had someone as a surrogate, you should also expect the side effects that comes from that. I'm sure the sister will level out. Sounds like she was pretty level before all this. That stuff is awful to do, but I wouldn't hold on to it long unless she had displayed this type of behavior long term. Now for the update. We gave Tilly 24 hours before we started the legal proceedings to give us our baby. I've been into work today to keep my mind busy as I was so nervous. And I work in a hospital, so it's kept my mind busy. Whereas James is able to work from home. It's been so hard the past few days not having our daughter with us. We had imagined being able to spend the first few days of her life together as a family, getting in all the newborn skin-to-skin contact, but instead we've just been looking at her empty nursery. When I got home from work, James told me that the maternity facility had been in contact to say my sister and our baby had been discharged. He didn't want to worry me when I was at work and had been trying to find them, but it had only happened about an hour before I got home. Then 2 hours later, someone knocks on our door, and it's Tilly holding our baby. She gives her to me and just shrugs and says sorry. But that it wasn't her fault she was attracted to the man whose baby she was carrying, but that she'd forgotten how much newborns cry and need to be fed and said she wasn't a mother. She left quickly after that after giving us the final legal form with her signature on. Safe to say, we've just been soaking in having our baby with us finally. We've been able to put her in the clothes we'd gotten her. We put her down in a crib and fed her a bottle. And most importantly, we've had so many cuddles. We haven't really put her down and I feel a bit scared too, like she can be taken away again. She's beautiful and she's perfect. Congratulations! I'm so happy you guys got her back. Invest in security cameras. And a front fence with electric gate. Not to be over the top, but it keeps the unwanted visitors out with no interaction required. And dogs that shoot bees out of their mouths when they bark. I was so worried this would be an awful ending. Make sure to get her birth certificate ordered with you both as parents, so she can't later try to come take her back. Get a security system and go no contact. At this point, if you could GPS chip babies, I know you can't, I would be so tempted just to know exactly where she is. We have a birth certificate now, as we were able to go and register her name at the same time. I'm so happy for you. I was worried that you would have to give through a lengthy court battle. She is in wonderful hands. Will you keep in contact with your sister? I like to. Hopefully she will have an attitude change. You're going to keep in contact with someone to try to home wreck you? My God, OP, have a little self-preservation. I think your sister agreed to get pregnant to steal your husband, and once it didn't work, she handed over the baby defeated. I have no doubt she'll try again, and if she succeeds, that's on you for being naive. Last story. Am I wrong for not giving my sister my baby? Plus updates. Original post. I am aware how insane the title is, but hear me out. It's me, female 28, my husband Lucas, 39, and my younger half-sister on dad's side, Leah, 24. My husband and I met through work 5 years ago, but didn't date right away. We tied a knot by eloping 2 years ago, as I predicted Leah would cause wedding drama. Leah herself had a failed engagement 1 year ago. We gave our condolences, but she said if I really cared, I would stop wearing my engagement ring around her flaunting it. I obviously did not take it off. It's a vintage ring that is an heirloom in Lucas's family. I'm now 5 months pregnant with a baby girl. She wasn't planned, but she's a very welcome surprise. And Lucas is so excited to be a girl dad, it's very funny. But ever since I announced my pregnancy, it wasn't a fancy thing just over dinner. Leah has been very snippy and standoffish with me. Fine, it didn't really affect me as we're not close. But then I noticed when we'd go to visit my dad or are at family gatherings, she's very touchy with Lucas. She giggles at every joke he makes. Doesn't really bother me. I'm secure in my marriage. And if anything, it makes her look silly. We had a blended family event with both mom and dad's side, and we were discussing baby names when Leah freaked out, screeching at me that she's the one who deserves a husband and a baby, not me. That I never wanted marriage or kids as I was focused on getting a career, then stormed off. Later on, my dad and his wife said she shouldn't have shouted, but I was flaunting my marriage and pregnancy, when I know she had a failed engagement and had always wanted a baby. I thought that was it. But yesterday, the three of them asked to talk, and they came over to ours, and they legitimately asked if I would give Leah my baby. Like they weren't joking. They said it seriously. They said she deserved it more than me, as she wouldn't neglect being a mother for a career. Lucas was stunned, but then promptly got them out of our house. Then I heard Leah clinging to his arm, telling him she could be a good stay-at-home mom. My mom and her side of the family are furious, and Leah's mom said it was malicious of me to tell my mom's family, and that I had really upset Leah when we eloped, so I had to make it up to her, and that my mom doesn't get a say. What the heck? Edit? Just to address some things, yes, unfortunately this is real, and this whole thing is really stressful. I'm immune compromised, so I'm really feeling run down and have to be careful. Lastly, Lucas is actually Swedish, so that is an option to those of you who have suggested moving. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Your sister and her mother are certifiably insane. You need to remove them from your life because they might decide to take your baby if you stay in contact. I agree. Is there a cultural aspect at play here? It's just hard to understand how her parents, sister, and family all want them to give up the baby to a single mother, of which I can presume has no job or financial support outside of her parents. No, from the stay-at-home mom comment, she wants Lucas too. Don't let this become a true crime story, Opie. I think you and your husband and your mom and all her relatives are the sane ones here. And I would strongly enforce boundaries or go very low contact with anyone in your family who would try to steal your baby from you or even suggest it. I expect once your baby is born, more of those mama bear feelings will get activated. So put security cameras and logging everything on your list of baby-proofing your house. Let your local friends and neighbors know if there are ever any shenanigans or things to watch out for. The key is not to be paranoid, but build a kind of boundaries. And monitoring of them, that means you don't have to be. This is a level of derangement where I think it can't possibly be true. If it is, cut them all out forever and get a restraining order because she's psychotic and dangerous. Don't let them anywhere near your child, nor near any child you have. I have no trouble believing that this is true. Women have unalive pregnant women and cut their babies out of them to pass them off as their own, often after pretending to be pregnant. And I've seen some really wackadoo behavior from infertile women. I don't see what state you currently live in, but if you don't move to Sweden, you should definitely move to Sweden. Be very cautious of not only the insane sister and stepmom, but also your father. Grandparents' rights are a thing in a lot of states, and if he establishes a relationship with your child, it could end up giving the psycho sister access to them. My dad's parents got grandparents' rights to me when I was a kid, and it was freaking awful. We're in DC. I could do an update if people want, but we've essentially decided to move out to Sweden. We're out here on vacation now. Now for the update. Hi guys, just wanted to give y'all an update as you asked for it. I saw it made it onto a TikTok podcast, which was amusing. If someone wants to pass them this update along, please do. First, obviously I'm not actually asking if I should give Leah my baby. I was venting. Sorry if I put it in the wrong sub. Lucas and I are in Sweden right now on vacation and have explored the possibility of moving here. He works for a Swedish company in the US anyway, so it would just be a case of moving. And my work is fluid, so I can pick up a job in most countries. I've asked my mom if she would think about coming with us. We would help set her up and make sure she was looked after. And this way she can see her grandbaby whenever rather than being an ocean apart. Leah's fuming apparently, sulking and being an all-around awful person. Flaunting her marriage and pregnancy by being married and pregnant. I wonder how Opie's sister copes around other married parents. How dare she exist in her sister's sphere? Do you think the sister realizes that her own parents are married? How dare they flaunt it around her? You kid, but I have a narcissistic older sister with a failed engagement. At one time, she and my mother seriously asked my brother and I, both happily married, to not look so happily married around her as it saddens her. Keep in mind, all we did was exist as a couple with our spouses in front of her. We aren't even the public lovey-dovey types. Apparently, other people being content in life is offensive now? When my husband and I were dating but hadn't moved in together yet, my roommate periodically would absolutely lose it that I was flaunting my boyfriend around her. She was usually a perfectly fine person and didn't act like that, but she'd never dated anyone, and she felt some type of way sometimes. We invited her to the wedding, of course, and she came, and she was happy for us. I think despite her best intentions, sometimes she just felt the weight of her youthful expectations about what her life would look like, and it came out in unfortunate ways. I wouldn't allow her to speak disrespectfully about my relationship or my now husband, of course, but I tried to be understanding. It was much easier because she was my roommate and not a relative. If my sister had been acting like that, I probably would have been pretty angry, but sister stuff can be complicated. Her sister is 24. 24. She's on the younger end of marriage age at least, where I live, and has a whole future of meeting people, dating, and potentially getting married/having a baby ahead of her. It's not like she's in her 30s or 40s where having a baby may be more difficult. And Opie didn't mention anything about health issues or anything either. Not that either of those things would make her behavior justified, but I could see this being an extreme grief reaction to being told she can't have kids. She's upset to the point of harassing Opie over flaunting her marriage and asking to take the baby because she's not married or a mom yet at 24. Maybe if she put as much effort into therapy and self-improvement as she's putting into harassing her sister, she'd be a happily married mom in a few years. I can understand Opie coming to Reddit. Sometimes there are just things that are too egregious they trip your brain and make you question your reality. And family posting, "Let us take your baby" as a serious request is one of them. Opie needs to get the heck away from her family. My brother-in-law was mad because my husband, the baby of the family and the most forgotten child, got married first, and we had a first grandchild/grandson. He tried to kidnap my son as a baby and then again as a teen. Husband told him that he was very lucky that I wasn't there because it took both husband and father-in-law beating on him with a giant mag light and a 2x4 to get him off of my son. We keep a weapon under the seat of the truck during hunting season and for defense on road trips, secured and locked. It's specifically a 20 gauge, so my little self can handle it. Holy smokes, I will assume brother-in-law isn't allowed anywhere near your son these days? Brother-in-law has passed on due to his addictions, and no, after we moved away, there was very little interaction between us and in-laws, and brother-in-law especially. Grandparents actually got a 6-month time out from all the kids at one point for allowing brother-in-law's girlfriend to discipline my youngest on one of the rare occasions he was allowed to spend a night there. And they weren't the ones that told me about it. It was my middle kid full of outrage that this person had laid hands on her baby brother. Brother-in-law wasn't allowed across the threshold of my house.